Good morning, and welcome again to our series, Questions and Answers for a World in Crisis. As you know, all the answers are from the words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. Today's topic: alcohol, smoking, and drugs. The Mother. There are indeed cups which look bright to the eye, and which seem to contain a pleasant and cheering drink, but which are nevertheless full of danger for men. Foremost among them are those which contain alcohol. But in other places, the use of alcohol, formerly unknown, is spreading. In India, for example, where abstinence had reigned for so many centuries, alcohol has been introduced. More terrible than any demon in the ancient legends. For the terrible Rakshasas of which they speak could be harmful only to the body, whereas alcohol has even the power to kill thought and destroy character. So first of all, it hurts the body. It hurts the children of parents who drink to excess. It hurts the intelligence of man and enslaves those who should be the servitors of humanity. Question: why do tobacco and alcohol destroy the memory and will? Mother: why? Because they do so. There is no moral reason. It is a fact. There is a poison in alcohol. There is a poison in tobacco. And this poison goes into the cells and damages them. Alcohol is never expelled, so to say. It accumulates in a certain part of the brain, and then, after the accumulation, these cells no longer function at all. Some people even go mad because of it. That is what is called delirium tremens. The result of having swallowed too much alcohol, which is not absorbed, but remains in this way concentrated in the brain. And it is so radical, even that there is a province in France, for instance, which produces wine, a wine with a very low percentage of alcohol. I believe it is 4 or 5%. A very low percentage, you understand. And these people, because they make it, drink wine as one drinks water. They drink it neat, and after some time they become ill. They have cerebral disorders. I knew people of this kind. The brain was disordered, didn't function anymore. And tobacco, nicotine is a very serious poison. It is a poison that destroys the cells. I have said that it is a slow poison because one doesn't feel it immediately, except when one smokes for the first time, and it makes one very ill. And this should make you understand that it ought not to be done. Only people are so stupid, they think it is a weakness, and so continue until they get used to the poison. And the body no longer reacts. It allows itself to be destroyed without reacting. You get rid of the reaction. On this subject, the following story is told. Some officers garrisoned in Algeria had adopted a monkey. The monkey lived with them, and one evening at dinner, they had the grotesque idea of giving it alcoholic drink. Seeing others drinking, and himself interested in it, the monkey emptied the glass that was offered to him, after which he rolled under the table, a prey to violent pain, sick, so sick that he was about to die, thus showing by example to man the spontaneous effect of alcohol on a physical nature that is not yet perverted. He was cured, however, and sometime after he was again admitted to the dinner table. And once more one of the officers put before him a glass of alcohol. Then, in a terrific rage, the monkey took it up and flung it at the head of the person who had offered it. And by that, the monkey proved that he was much more wise than men. Mother starts reading. Quote, "To those, I am making a distinction. There are people who come here and want to dedicate themselves to divine life. But they come to do work, and they will work. They won't do an intensive yoga, because not 1 in 50 is capable of doing it. But they are capable of dedicating their life and of working and doing good work disinterestedly as a service to the divine. That's very good. But in particular, to those who want to practice the integral yoga, it is strongly advised to abstain from 3 things. So the 3 things, laughing, you put your fingers in your ears. Sexual intercourse, it comes third. Drinking alcohol and whispering, smoking. I must tell you that I was born in a family in which nobody smoked. My father had never smoked, and neither had his brothers. Anyway, no one smoked. So since my early childhood, I hadn't been used to others smoking. Later, when I lived with artists smoke, of course. Parentheses. It seems it gives them, quote, inspiration. But I detested the smell. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be unpleasant, but I detested it. Then I came here. Sri Aurobindo smoked. He smoked deliberately. He smoked in order to say, one can do the yoga while smoking. I say one can smoke and do the yoga, and I smoke. And he smoked. And naturally all the disciples smoked, since Sri Aurobindo smoked. For some time, I even gave them pocket money so they could buy cigars. They smoked cigars. It was ghastly. Then I came to live in Sri Aurobindo's house. We spoke freely. And one day I told him how awful the smell of smoking is, laughing. It's disgusting. So he said to me, "Oh, you don't like the smell?" "Oh no," I said. Not only that, but I had to make a yogic effort to stop it from making me feel sick. The next day, he had stopped. It was over. He never smoked again. That was kind. It wasn't on principle. It was because he didn't want to impose the smell on me. But I had never said anything. It was simply because he asked me, just like that, while talking, so I told him. And when he stopped smoking, everyone had to stop too. Smoking wasn't allowed anymore, since he didn't smoke anymore. Drugs are prohibited in Aurobindo. If there are any who take them, they do it deceitfully. The ideal Aurobillian, eager to become conscious of the divine consciousness, takes neither tobacco, nor alcohol, nor drugs. You complain that you live in misery, and I tell you that you live in misery because you waste your money on drinking and smoking, and because you waste your energy in sexual excess. All these, alcohol, tobacco, and sexual excess, ruin your health. Money does not bring happiness. The sannyasi who possesses nothing and usually eats only one meal a day is perfectly happy if he is sincere, whereas a rich man may be thoroughly unhappy if he has ruined his health by all sorts of excess and overindulgence. I repeat, it is not money that makes a man happy, but rather an inner balance of energy, good health, and good feelings. Stop drinking, smoking, and overindulging. Stop hating and envying, and then you will no longer lament your lot. You will no longer feel that the world is full of misery. April 1952. Mother is answering a point. The reason is quite simply that it is rather difficult to make a rule that applies for one person and not for another. Very complicated. And unfortunately, among people living in Aurobindo, there are some who drink. And there are other things too. But anyway, one was found almost dead drunk in the playground. So naturally, with us here at the ashram, it is forbidden to drink alcohol. It caused a terrible uproar. That is the reason. It is not an inner reason, it is a very practical reason. It is impossible to say this one may go, that one cannot. What can they do at the door? And it almost caused a revolution. If they ask my advice, I would say, I advise you not to drink because it diminishes the consciousness and ruins your health. But some people do not ask my advice, and I do not want to make rules for Aurobindo. as I did for the ashram. It is not the same thing. The people who live in Aurobindo and insist on following all the old habits, the old ones and the new ones too, which harm the consciousness, which lower the consciousness, things like smoking, drinking, and, of course, drugs. All that, it is as if you were cutting pieces off your being. In the ashram, naturally, I said no. We want to grow in consciousness. We do not want to descend into the pit of desires. To those who refuse to understand, I say, the aim of Aurobindo is to discover a new, deeper, more complete, more perfect life, and to show the world that tomorrow will be better than today. Some people believe that smoking, drinking, etc., will form part of the life of tomorrow. That is their business. If they want to go through this experience, let them do it. They will realize that they are imprisoning themselves in their own desires. But anyway, I am not a moralist. Not at all, at all, at all. It is their own business. If they want to go through this experience, let them do it. But the ashram is not the place for it. Thank God, at the ashram, we have learned that life is something else. True life is not the satisfaction of desires. I can confirm from experience that all the experiences brought by drugs, all that contact with the invisible world, can be had in a much better, more conscious and controlled way without drugs. Only one must control oneself. It is more difficult than swallowing poison. But I am not going to preach. When and if Aurobindo becomes the example of a higher life, having conquered all desires and opened itself to higher forces, then we will be able to go everywhere. When the Aurobindians become lights moving in the world, they will be welcome there.